Today I'm making pizza sauce. When I started canning, one of my goals was to try to get rid of any kinds of foods that I would eat out of cans, like store-bought cans, and pizza sauce is one of those things. That is my personal reason for making pizza sauce. Plus, I think I can probably make a much more tastier product than what I can buy at the store. So now, full disclosure, when you go through these scientific books or the safely approved recipes, there's only one recipe for pizza sauce that I can find. I tried it and I didn't necessarily care for it. What I've done is I've decided, number one, that I'm going to pressure can my pizza sauce. So that way I already know that I'm getting a safer product. But when you look at some of the books, like the So Easy to Preserve, there's different recipes for mixed vegetables and mixed vegetables with tomatoes, and there's different recipes for tomato sauce with onion and peppers and garlic. What I'm going to do to make sure that my recipe is going to be safe is that I'm going to take the longest processing time for all the vegetables that I'm putting into my pizza sauce. So let me explain. So the tomato sauce, when you look at a recipe for tomato sauce, the processing time in a pressure canner is somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes. So I know I have to go at least 15 to 20 minutes. But if you look at the processing time for like bell peppers, you're looking at 35 minutes. So then that means that I have to process my sauce for 35 minutes. But I have onion all cut up here. So onion, if you look at the time to pressure can onions, it's 40 minutes. To be sure that I am making a safe product, I'm going to pressure can my pizza sauce for 40 minutes. And as an extra safety, when you look at the recipes for tomato sauce, even if they're pressure canned, there is a recommendation to add some extra acid. So I'm going to be adding some bottled lemon juice, not fresh lemon juice, but bottled lemon juice, as per the recommendations of it's 1 tablespoon per pint. So I'm going to be making half pint. So I'll be adding a half a tablespoon of lemon juice to each pint to make sure that my product is going to be safe. This is tomato puree that I had made from last summer. I had extra tomatoes, ran them through my food mill, and then ended up with quite a bit of tomato puree. So this is what I'm going to use for the base of my pizza sauce. So it's going to take probably a couple of hours to simmer and to get all my ingredients. I need to roast. I'm going to roast my red peppers and my garlic, and I'm going to add all this to my tomato puree, and I'm going to let all this simmer for, I'm not quite sure yet, an hour and a half, a couple of hours. First of all, so it'll reduce, so it'll thicken, and as well, so I can adjust the flavors. I'm going to be adding as well probably some basil and possibly some oregano. Obviously, I'm going to be adding some salt as well. Don't forget, your salt has to be your pickling salt, your coarse salt, your sea salt, not your regular table salt, because I am going to be pressure canning. So I'm going to start by roasting my red peppers and getting my sauce boiling on the stove. I have all the ingredients in the pot. So what I've added in here so far is 13 cups of the tomato puree. I've added 1 onion finely diced, and I added that in. Then I roasted 4 to 5 cloves of garlic and also 1.5 red pepper in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes, and then I diced that up all real small and added that inside the sauce as well. So it's coming to a boil. As you can see, it's really liquid. It's basically water. So this is going to probably take a couple of hours before it boils down to a nice thick pizza sauce. So it's just be patient. I haven't added any spices yet. I will link in the description all the ingredients that I've added to this and the quantities. The spices is going to be kind of taste testing and adding on and slowly just to ensure that I get the flavor that I'm looking for. And so we just wait till this boils down. I was pretty accurate in my guessing. It's been about 2 hours to get to the consistency where it would be thick enough. I ended up adding about a good tablespoon and a half salt, and I would say those same amounts of oregano and basil. And I added as well a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. So it is now thick enough to be a pizza sauce. So it's time to get these in the jars. Gonna start by adding the extra acid to my jars, half a tablespoon of bottled lemon juice. Then I'm going to proceed to fill my jars with the pizza sauce, leaving a generous 1-inch headspace. Remember to wipe the rims of your jars well. Make sure nothing stops your caps from sealing. Center your lid on top of your jar and put your ring on fingertip tight. Transfer this over to the pot and continue this process until you've got all your sauce in your jars. The jars are all filled. I've placed them in my canner. So now we need to bring this up to a good hard boil to vent the pot. If you're unfamiliar with how to pressure can, I don't go into a lot of details. But if you're not familiar with the process, you may want to check out a video I have on step-by-step on how to do some pressure canning, especially if you're new to the process. Now that we've vented the pot for 10 minutes, we're going to put the weighted gauge on it and start building the pressure inside the canner. Whew, it's quieter too. My canner has reached 11 pounds of pressure, so now I'm going to start timing this for 40 minutes. So our jars processed for 40 minutes. I moved them over to a side of the stove that was not hot. I let it sit until the button dropped. Removed the weighted gauge from the vent for at least 10 minutes. Now it's safe to remove the cover. I can hear the jars sealing already. So we're going to let them sit in the canner again for another 10 minutes, but we're almost done. Now that the 10 minutes are up, we're going to remove the jars from the canner. We make sure that we keep our arms straight, and we need to put them in a spot where we're going to leave them untouched for 24 hours. "24 hours are up. I've ended up with 7 jars of pizza sauce. It's a little bit more than I thought I would get when I saw how much the sauce had reduced by, but I'm quite happy with what I've gotten. Remember to always remove the rings from your jars before storing, and to mark the date and what product is in here, because it looks a lot like it could be a barbecue sauce, it could be tomatoes, it could be chili sauce. So make sure that you mark on top what product that it is that you made. You can store these jars in a cool, dark, dry environment for about a year. They should stay good for about a year. Don't stack them one on top of the other because it could affect the seal of your jars. And if you like the content, don't forget, feel free to subscribe and check back again soon to see what other projects I'll have going on.